And we're back with another edition of the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glass from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. I'm here along with my good friend. He's the man, the myth, the legend behind Humanican Media, which, by the way, you need to check out all their great stuff from E3 that's going on right now on the Humanican Media YouTube page and also the Facebook page as well. The Facebook page as well. It is Josh Peterson. How are you, my friend?
What up? Hey, I'm good, man. I just finished those E3 videos. Everything's up and running. Getting the old Facebook page updated.
At least you are, man. It's been a long week for me, I'm telling you. Traveling back from...
Whoa. You graduated.
Oh, yes.
Hey.
Okay, from one fellow National University graduate to another, it's great pleasure. Josh Peterson here, he graduated with distinction, and as far as becoming a graduate of the National University School of Journalism in 2016. So I said to myself, I got to follow in his footsteps, and I just did over the weekend, becoming a graduate myself. So now, how does it feel that we're both alumni?
Whoa. I feel old now. Do we have to go to like benefit dinners and stuff? Pull out the old checkbook?
Either that or just like at a match class rings or something. I don't know.
Got that like what's his name? Captain Planet. You know, we'll summon him when we put our rings together.
Either that or like the Wonder Twins. But anyways, it was a great week, E3, and did a lot of theme parks with the kids and all that, and like I said, it all topped up with a great graduation ceremony. And I want to thank National University, just for having a great ceremony at San Diego's Petco Park. It was awesome indeed. But enough about that. We want to talk about the real great happenings again at the Pop Culture Cosmos, because we have been we're number one again 4 months in a row, and we want to make sure that we let everyone out there know that the Podcast Radio Network listeners out there know we truly appreciate it. The making us number one for the 4th month in a row. It just truly is overwhelming indeed. Each and every time we see that, it's just awesome. I still have to almost rub my eyes twice to see wow, number one on the Podcast Radio Network for the Pop Culture Cosmos show every Monday night, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific. And then also on Friday is our number 7 rated show, the PCC Multiverse, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And we are truly appreciative of that show because that's its highest ranking ever as well. So that's awesome indeed. So Josh, before I list off all the other great people that are listening out there that are downloading the episode, we truly appreciate that just the same. What's going on with Humanican Media?
To be honest, right now, just business as usual. Just got back did the E3 thing. I just edited all those videos. There will be a new Super Bro station. They're recording a new What About This weekend, and there'll be some new Topicocalypse episodes put up.
So what are some of the games out there that people need to check out for some game footage that you recorded at E3, which they can find on the Humanican Media YouTube channel?
Let me tell you. All right, here we got Dragon Ball FighterZ, which looks pretty cool. Super Mario Odyssey, Detroit Become Human, Star Wars Battlefront, Assassin's Creed, Gran Turismo, South Park, Sea of Thieves, Crackdown, Forza, Mario plus Rabbids, Call of Duty, and a whole bunch of other great stuff, as well as some great interviews with some indie makers like the creator of Where the Water Tastes Like Wine and a couple other people from IndieCade, and a really cool zombie game.
Borders was a great game, and a Case of Distrust, I think.
Distrust, yes. And we got to talk to the creators of NASCAR Heat 2 and Dead Alliance, and just a lot of really great stuff.
And the co-creator of Microsoft's Mixer streaming service.
Yes, correct. And hey, good for them, man. Honestly, their Microsoft stream was so good and Sony's was so bad. So hopefully a lot of people, check out Mixer.
I hope so indeed. It's a great service. We got a chance to see it firsthand got a chance to see the fact that it as far as any delay or anyone, it's very minimal at the very least, and it just really just seems to be providing a tremendous service for those that are really into the streaming formats and whatnot that are now on Twitch, that are now on YouTube, or whoever wants to get into it. Mixer is now becoming a very viable option indeed. So it's great to talk to one of the co-creators of that. So it was a great pleasure. There's all these great E3 videos. You got to check it out at Humanican Media on their YouTube page. As far as the Pop Culture Cosmos and PCC Multiverse, if you cannot catch it on the Podcast Radio Network, check us out. It's very easy. You can download our shows at any time on any one of these channels on Google Play, YouTube. Well, I'm sorry. There's Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, podcast.com, Mixcloud, the ESO Network, the Tangibound Network, the Gonna Geek Network as well, Ace Podcast Network, and Overcast.fm. All these great networks, you can just download it. It's right there for you. Plus, for listening to our downloadable shows, hey, we're going to throw in an extra podcast just for listening. Pretty much every time that you go ahead and do so, anytime we really can are able to, we try to add an extra one in there just as a bonus, just for listening on our downloads. So it's a great episode we have for you today. We've got another 2 great interviews indeed, like we said, from E3. We've got the folks behind NASCAR Heat 2 and also Dead Alliance. They're coming up a little later and show both those interviews. Plus, we've got our continued interview with the authors, 2 of the 3 authors of Syndicate Wars, the great novel series, which you can get on Amazon right now for the first 3 books in the series for just 99 cents each. It's a no-brainer. You just got to do it. It's awesome indeed. So we're going to be talking to 2 of the 3 authors of that later on in the show as well. Got a hit song from Plasma Z as well coming up in the program as well. So, but first, I want to talk to you about the big winner this weekend at the box office. Josh, Cars 3 looks like it's coming back strong as an entity. It was kind of pretty much an afterthought after what many people thought was a down note in Cars 2. I didn't like it much either. And it was more like it seemed like the movie series was more like a merchandising realm more than it was actually an enjoyable movie series. What are your thoughts on the Cars series? And do you think it's gonna be something that's gonna, keep Pixar's string of hits going? Because on the horizon is Despicable Me 3.
Sorry, my mouse is like going all over the place. Yeah, honestly, someone asked me about this weekend, and what I said was I'm not a huge fan of the Cars franchise, and
neither am I. I just didn't think that they're all right for what they're worth, but I think they're more used for merchandise than anything else.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, it's not the fact that I'm sure the movies are well written, and I know people do like them, but it's like I can't. I have a hard time, like, unless it's something that has a lot of like adult innuendos like Minions and Despicable Me. I have a hard time watching things I can't relate to. So it's like Cars is really always difficult for me to get into. I always watch with my nephew, but I didn't like the second one. Like I watched probably about 15 minutes of it, and I just left the room because I didn't really care to see what happens.
The second one is not considered a very good film, and probably one of the most disappointing Pixar films in their entire series of animated features. But it looks like they've reinstated, at least to some extent, the Cars, panache per se, as far as Cars 3 is concerned, has brought it back to relevancy. I just think it's whether or not it's going to be a huge hit or not. I have my doubts because, like I said, Despicable Me 3 comes in 2 weeks, and that's really going to take a chunk of change out of the future earnings for Cars 3 because both of those third episodes in series matching up, I think people, like you said, have a higher affinity for the Minions at this point in time. Do you agree? Or
no, I agree. But let me ask you this question though: how many how many of the people who go to see Cars, like, because I was thinking about this the other day too, like, how many people who go to see Cars actually want to see Cars, and how many people go to see it because they want to take their kids to do something, or how many kids don't actually want to see it but they go because that's the only movie their parents will take them to. So it's kind of it's a weird market to me.
I agree with you on that because I think right now it fits that niche. Because there aren't too many kids movies that are out currently that are of any consequence. Beauty and the Beast, I think, was the last thing that was really kind of fitting that mold, and now it looks like until Despicable Me 3 comes out, that Cars 3 is going to have to fit the bill. So you're right. For the next 2 weeks, at least it has something solid that can build upon. But once Despicable Me 3 comes out, I think it's gonna really bite the dust and eat some smoke when it comes to Despicable Me 3, because I think there's a lot more life left in that particular series than the Cars series itself. What are your thoughts on the Cars 3 winning the box office this weekend, and what is your thoughts overall on the Cars series? Tell us your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com, plus also as well Humanican Media, Pop Culture Cosmos, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. Well, we've got a great episode coming up for you today. Got a lot of things we got to take care of, as far as a lot of interviews coming up, and also some more great talk between Josh and I on a lot of great subjects. But first, we got a great song from Plasma Z. This is the song that is being played currently on the compilation video for E3 on Humanican Media and on their YouTube channel. This is Elijah Harrison, better known as Plasma Z, and this is Level 1, right here on the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back with the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. We truly appreciate you being part of the broadcast here today. I cannot thank everyone enough for allowing us to be number one again for the fourth straight month on the Podcast Radio Network. I know Josh and I, every time we talk about it off camera or off mic, we're just like, wow, that's just really just truly amazing. That's something that he and I were just working on with the old Game Source podcast, and just thought we wanted to talk more about pop culture. It has evolved into this, and we just truly appreciate coming into your homes, coming into your computer or your phones or your headphones or your cars or wherever you listen to us. We truly appreciate indeed. So Josh, I know we were talking about some movies earlier in the show, but I also want to touch on one more movie that's coming out this week, which could be a really big movie or may not meet up to expectations. But in supposedly the final adventure, which, I'm sure you've heard that before once already this year, starting with Pirates Adventures. What are your thoughts on the Transformers The Last Night, the Transformers series as a whole, and where do you think it's going to go from here as far as being the final adventure? Do you really think it's going to be that final time they go ahead and be more than meets the eye?
No, I don't. I don't know why they would say that, because
I know, like I said, the rumor had that this is the last one that Michael Bay is going to do.
I mean, we'll see. He said that about the last one too.
But in their advertising, it clearly says this is the final adventure.
It won't be, because from what I understand, they have a bunch of scripts lined up for not just spin-offs but main entries too. So I would never say never, but maybe they're saying it to get people to go watch it, because I know interest has waned on this series dramatically.
It's still big overseas.
Yeah, and that's right. We talked about how filmmakers don't really make movies for American audiences anymore. But yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, I'll probably end up going to see it just because, but I'm not too interested in the franchise as a whole anymore. And if they want to cap it off with this one, go for it. But I don't think that it's going to be the end, because I know they have a Bumblebee spinoff movie coming out, and that'll eventually, when people are saying craving more Optimus Prime, they'll throw him back in there, I'm sure. So we'll see.
Well, I know for me, it's probably might be the ones. It probably just might be the one time I actually will actually go see the movie actually in the theaters, because the previous iterations I had zero interest in until maybe it hit television. But even then, trying to follow everything, and the plot lines make no sense, and it's just explosion, explosion, transforming, explosion, explosion, transforming, which I guess translates very nicely to an international audience. But for the first time, my wife and I have come to agreement on thinking that maybe this could be the one that finally lures us into the theater. Obviously, because Optimus Prime is now controlled by some evil or dark force, and he has to obey. So he's trying to get rid of the Autobots, and he's trying to get rid of all the Transformers. Excuse me, and it looks like in the commercial that he's about ready to do in Bumblebee. So I don't know. It makes for an interesting concept, but then and worked so far. That interesting concept worked so far in the commercials leading up for Fate of the Furious. So it could do the same magic for this latest Transformers movie, The Last Night, which, again, according to the advertising, is supposedly the last adventure. But if it does anywhere as near as well as the others, which have gone over $1 billion in almost every case worldwide, it definitely makes sense to keep the Transformer series going. I know Hasbro would definitely want them to keep it going. So it's a right, wait and see. Is there still life in the Transformer series? Like I said, I've heard mixed feelings on that. There might be some viewer fatigue. We'll find out very shortly, because the movie comes out this Wednesday to theaters here in the US, and very soon, if not already out worldwide. So we're going to get some feelers on that pretty soon, and as far as how that goes. And we'll give you updates on the movie itself, on the PCC multiverse, and then also possibly next week on our show, as well. What are your thoughts?
I know. Sorry, real quick. I know they're also talking about a crossover, right, with GI Joe and Transformers. So
yes,
there's all kinds of ideas being tossed around. So I'm doubting this will be the last one, but maybe this will be the last for whatever this story we are on with, like, Mark Wahlberg and the Josh Lama or whatever his name is.
Yeah, Josh Duhamel.
Yeah, him.
Yes, Fergie's dude. Yes. Well, I thought the original concept, like you said, GI Joes, the whole Hasbro thing working together, that actually, instead of Josh, Duhamel, should have been the GI Joe forces. He should have been a GI Joe force, or maybe will be revealed that he is a GI Joe force, as far as that's concerned. Battling the forces against the Transformers or whatnot. But I think that would have been, like you said, a nice mix. So maybe they will have that something formally like that coming up around the corner to regain that interest from the fans as well, and regain that interest by viewers everywhere. So we'll have to wait and see. But what are your thoughts around the Transformers series? Please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Plus also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Humanican Media, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the Transformers series. Is there still life with these, much beloved transforming robots? We'll have to wait and see. I think there is. Whether or not it will still translate to over $1 billion, I'm not sure, because I think the U.S. market may be a little bit tired of it, but I still think internationally there's still a lot of life there. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, but definitely it's going to be interesting indeed as it comes out this week to theaters. And we're back with the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. Please check us out every Monday night right here on the Pop Culture Cosmos Show, 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on the Podcast Radio Network. And if you don't, if you can't get our show for any reason on the Podcast Radio Network, that's no problem. You can check out our show, or also as well our Friday show, the PCC Multiverse. You can check out those shows by downloading it today on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, podcast.com, TuneIn, Mixcloud, the ESO Network, the Tangibound Network, the Gonna Geek Network as well, and the ACE Podcast Network and Overcast.fm. Well, Josh, like we said earlier in the show, I'm really tired. I did a lot of walking at the Los Angeles Convention Center this past week. Did a lot of great interviews, and obviously you did an outstanding job. I want to just make sure everybody knows on air what an outstanding job that Josh did with his footage that he got and the way he was able to mix it all together for all the E3 videos, all the games that he shot footage of that you can check out on the Humanica Media YouTube page. But now that all is said and done, it's now quiet, all quiet on the Western Front. What are your thoughts on E3 as a whole? It just now that you're gonna have had a chance to relax, think more about it. Some winners, some of the games you're really interested in seeing, and some of the games that really needed a lot of work or some more work needs to be done for really it to be standing out on the showroom floor.
Yeah, looking back on it, I wish I would have gotten some more footage, maybe some longer shots and some more games I kind of walked past without thinking about it. I know a lot of the games look really good. Like I don't know what it is about Everybody's Golf on PlayStation, but I kind of really want to play that. I was bummed that Sony had so many things behind closed doors, which surprised me because Uncharted's coming out in August. And
well, I love Hot Shots Golf, so that tells you right there. It's the same makers, so definitely they've always done a great job in the past. So yes, I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, right. And there's a lot of good stuff. I think that Detroit Become Human needs some work because I know during the video I showed like a demo loop of that, and it doesn't look that exciting to me. I know they're kind of banking on it being a big title, but what are your thoughts on that? Because I'm not too thrilled about it. I feel like I need to know more.
Well, it's got David Cage is the creator, correct?
Yeah, it's got like a heavy rain vibe to it, but it doesn't really.
Well, that's who created.
Yeah.
So, but the problem is they don't translate well to a large audience. None of his games have really just they've been kind of well received critically. Sometimes they're kind of misunderstood. Sometimes it leaves people scratching their heads. But the innovation and the ideas are there for a great foundation. But with Detroit Becoming Human, I would love to see that game do well because I think it's a great concept, and I love that first initial trailer I saw at E3 sometime back. But like you said, I think it still needs some more work on what it needs to do and what it needs to become as a game and as a story narrative. So definitely needs some help on that indeed. But Super Mario Odyssey, I think both you and I thought very highly of it. I like the sequences where it goes from 3D to a 2D concept. I just want to make sure that there's enough to do in the world as far as being that's a quote unquote open world type Mario. So definitely looking good so far. But may even make me want to buy a Switch. So you never know. The battle of the racing games between Forza Motorsport 7 and Gran Turismo. They were both trying to put in competitive formats. I don't know. At this point in time, they're both very simmy, so you may be able to find a lot of similarities between both. But I kind of like the way Gran Turismo looks right now. But what were your thoughts? Because you got a lot of footage of each.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like both games, but I'm more partial to Forza just because I've been playing it a lot. I played Gran Turismo back when it first came out on PlayStation 1. I adored it, but then it was gone for a long time, whereas Forza has just been a yearly entry pretty much. So I've always had a Forza game to play, and because I know that they are consistent with their releasing and with their DLC and with their cars, and they give you free stuff, that I'm just going to naturally gravitate towards Forza. But I'm curious to see what Gran Turismo has to throw at us as far as DLC track packs, what they're going to give us for free and what we're going to have to pay for. Someone was saying that this is a prime time for Ridge Racer to come back, and I was thinking, that's an interesting concept.
I was hoping Project Gotham Racing at some point in time being reintroduced to the world because I love that series as well.
Yeah, that was fun. That was the original Xbox, correct? The first one. Yeah, and you got Project Cars coming out and the Crew, so it's going to be a year of racing games, but Forza is on top right now, so it's going to be hard to knock it off of its pedestal, so to speak.
What do you think that Xbox is going to rely upon when they come out with the Xbox One X? Because Crackdown 3 is the game that's going to be released shortly before it launches, and maybe they're going to try and push it as the game to get along with the Xbox One X. But when I saw it, it's got some nice cell shading and whatnot, but I really don't think it's going to push the Xbox One X the way people wanted to, at least not for a $500 system, correct?
Correct. Crackdown is not a franchise that you want to rely on heavily because
they don't really have one. In fact, they're counting on other third-party games like Miller Shadow of War to push the system.
Right, and I don't know, because I'm pretty stoked about the upgrades that they're offering as far as games you already have and what you can upgrade them to. And I think Forza looks cool, but it's a racing game. It's like, those games can look fantastic even on crap televisions. But I think that Final Fantasy 15, an upgraded version of that, could look really good on a Xbox One X.
I think it would too as well. I think it'll look really sharp indeed. Racing games are usually the go-to for when anybody brings out a new console. It seems like racing games bring out the best in the fidelity and look and sharpness of graphics every time someone proposes a new console coming out. So definitely it's something to look forward to indeed with all the great stuff that's going on. But I'm still concerned that Xbox does not have that third pillar of gaming that they really need to rely upon, because Forza, I don't think it is considered by anyone to be that third foundation they can count on. It's a nice backbone as far as always being able to supply content with that and the Horizon series alternating year after year. But I don't think it's going to be something that you can say, oh yes, this is our Halo or Gears. And yeah, it's just, they're missing something there, and they're going to be continuing missing something unless it's something actually they make and create and they can stand behind will actually connect on a large basis with the audience as well. So PlayStation 4, there was a lot of great stuff there, but I noticed that they don't really have that tentpole game unless you want to talk, again, a racing game, which unfortunately Gran Turismo doesn't have that hold that it once had earlier this century. So maybe it's time for return for that franchise indeed to hit the heights. But I was hoping I would hear more about The Last of Us 2. I know it's the last Uncharted DLC, standalone DLC, whatever you want to call it, is coming out later this year, and that looks very, very great, very, very promising. But that's an end to the Uncharted series by Naughty Dog. So I was hoping more from The Last of Us 2, but didn't get to see that. So I'm kind of concerned for PlayStation that they don't really have that tentpole there either. Did you see anything that they could really stand behind as well this holiday season?
No, they didn't give us any release dates. Like, they didn't say what's coming out. Like, that was the worst part about the Sony conference to me, was the fact that a lot of it said, hey, sometime 2018. And some of them didn't even give us that. Some of them just ended and went on to the next video. So right now, I don't know what's coming out for PlayStation in the fall. I know that Bethesda has some stuff coming out, and Ubisoft. So naturally, you're going to have your Assassin's Creed and whatever Bethesda. I can't think off the top of my head what they're releasing right now, but whatever they have coming out, and that's it. I don't know, like, any solid concrete. God of War 2018, Uncharted August.
Well, Wolfenstein is coming out for Bethesda, and then also the Evil Within 2. That's also coming out for Bethesda.
Isn't Evil Within is that also on PlayStation, or is that just Xbox exclusive?
No, those are both.
Okay, so yeah, you have that, but I mean, as far as like Sony's major publishers, we don't know when any of that stuff's coming out. Like that's the most annoying part about it. And Sony fanboys will defend that till the day they die, but at the same time, it's like, hey, these games look good, but when are we gonna get to play them? Like,
So that leaves the door open for Nintendo Switch. And even though, again, I will still say it's an overpriced, underpowered unit that lacks quality games at this point, it's still kind of unfair because the system's been out for such a short period of time. You can't really expect it to have a ton of games, but it has ARMS. It'll have Splatoon 2. It has Mario Kart, and it has obviously Zelda and some other smaller stuff indeed. So I guess there's enough for audiences to play until Super Mario Odyssey comes out. But you said continually said that after Zelda is done, it's gathering dust for you. So as a Switch owner, do you think that more needed to be done, or did you see enough that what keeps your interest as a Switch owner at this point in time?
I saw enough to hold me over because I was expecting nothing, but then I ended up getting something. So I'm happy they gave us something. And we're not going to see Metroid for at least 3 years. I don't know why they showed us it this early in the development cycle. I think they're trying to appease some fans who are upset about the virtual console and the Pokemon Direct that didn't quite go the way they had expected. And they didn't actually show us a lot. They announced things, but they didn't really show us a lot. So I know we're getting
Or
Super
somebody
Mario.
at a desk and say, "Hey, how are you? We're releasing this game. We're developing it now." I know. Yeah,
I mean, yeah, and for all we know, that the Pokemon RPG could have just been based on the backlash from the Nintendo Direct. We don't know. There's no evidence that the game is actually in existence right now. So, good for them for listening, but hopefully Mario and shoot, what else is coming out? It's Xenoblade will.
Hopefully that will fit the bill for audiences.
Yeah, hopefully
It
that'll
looks
hold
like
us
it's
over.
a little bit of an underwhelming holiday period, although Battlefront 2 looks rad, and I'm going to get that.
Yeah, did you see the story they released today saying that this is going to show Battlefront 2 story will show where Luke Skywalker went in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens?
Yes, I did, and I cannot wait to play it. So that to me was the game that really stuck out for me at E3, and watching it on hand on the show floor at the PlayStation booth was really just nice. I know you walked up to me, and I'm just standing there going, I want to play. So I know that you were kind of had to snap me into shape once I was watching it. So definitely some great stuff indeed coming up for Battlefront 2. So I'll tell you, there's some stuff out there that's going to interest some fans this holiday season. It's not quite the best holiday season in the world, as I was saying, but there's some stuff there that I think people like. And Super Mario Odyssey, there's also Battlefront 2, Call of Duty World War, and then also, there's a few others. State of Decay 2, I believe, is going to come out before then, before the end of the year. And then also Assassin's Creed, that's going to come out in the near future. There's South Park, The Fractured But Whole, and there's a few more titles indeed that Ubisoft's going to release in the near future that kind of kept my interest. And then Anthem by EA, which again, I will say it till the day I die, should have been the game that BioWare had made for Mass Effect instead of this, because it really looks good, but it's something that I will always feel that they should have done first for Mass Effect Andromeda. But okay, all right, it is what it is at this point in time. So we got to go from here. But there's some great stuff indeed. Any last thoughts on E3 as we go through this E3 hangover, at least for now?
No, I mean I'm hoping to. The first game is coming up here soon. We got Assassin's Creed and Evil Within. October's come right around the corner. Yeah, I'm excited to play some of these games. Hopefully, we hear more about the Sony stuff soon, though. Like, I want to know when God of War's coming out. They didn't give us a. They said sometime 2018. Didn't give us that release date though. That's
Maybe
you know.
they'll spill the beans at PlayStation Experience. So that's what I'm hoping for, indeed. If you have any thoughts on E3 2017, any of the games that were shown on the show floor, or any of the interviews or footage that Josh caught on Humanican Media that you can catch on his YouTube channel, please let us know. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also, as well, Humanican Media, Pop Culture Cosmos, and Game Source on Facebook and Twitter as well. When we come back, we're going to close out the show with our thoughts on Sony's Venom and what's the real story going on. And Josh has that info coming up right after the break. This is the Pop Culture Cosmos. And we're back with the Pop Culture Cosmos. My name is Gerald Glassford from Pop Culture Cosmos and Game Source. Truly appreciate you being part of the program here today. If you have any questions, let us know. Like I said, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. And it's just awesome to have you listening to our #1 rated program 4 months in a row on the Podcast Radio Network. And also, if you get a chance, check out our PCC Multiverse show every Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on the Podcast Radio Network as well. And you can always download it. And if you do, on any one of our numerous array of downloadable networks, you will always, we're going to try to always put an extra podcast right on the back end just for you. So, Josh, you have the info, you have the scoop that Venom may actually be a lot more promising than what we thought of and what we had speculated on a few weeks back when we were talking about Venom and the whole Spider-Man universe being so far away from the Marvel universe and being segregated from it so Sony could do whatever it wants to without the prying hands of Marvel getting into play. What are your thoughts on that? And basically, what news do you have to share in regards to the Venom universe?
Well, it's interesting because an interview popped up on the internet today. Usually I would have just scrolled past this because people keep like speculating and talking about it. Nothing solid, but an interview popped up today with Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal talking to somebody about the Venom film and how it ties into Spider-Man. And the interesting tidbit is that Tom Holland, they're making these movies not around the MCU, but around the Tom Holland Spider-Man universe, which is in the MCU. So it's a, I guess maybe we'll see Tom Holland in Venom. Maybe Venom will pop up in Spider-Man Homecoming too. We don't know, but at the same time, we know that these movies we now know definitively that they are connected to each other.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a great thing indeed if it is connected and it's all right there, because it just makes more sense. And also because it any day now. Not we're recording or anything. Thanks. Love ya. Anyways, this will be edited out, of course. It's just that it's so great to see that they're finally starting to come to sense with how the audience will perceive it, because the audience doesn't follow everything so closely in the comic book world or the film universes and all that. They just like to see, for the most part, they like to see everything just try and connect with each other, because it's just so much more easier to follow when it's all connected together. And if you try to segregate it out where it's your own universe, and because it's not going to be able to have any control over by Marvel or any input by Marvel, and you want to keep it for yourself, just did not make any sense to me. I'm just so glad that the Venom universe hopefully will be a part of the actual Spider-Man Tom Holland universe per se. And so it can be actually become more aligned and make more sense and be also more approachable to audiences. That's just my opinion. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, because it would be stupid to have two Spider-Man universes existing at the same time. So I think it's a very wise decision. Maybe we won't see Venom pop up in an Avengers film or something, but at least we know that, much like the Agents of Shield and Defenders, that these worlds run alongside each other instead of separate from each other.
And the events in the Avengers might get mentioned in a Venom movie now, so that people can relate to it closer. Just like obviously the mentions and obviously the appearances by Marvel's characters, Avengers characters within the new Spider-Man Homecoming film as well. Correct?
Correct. So, yeah, I mean, it's my interest level, it has risen dramatically after that. Actually, I would have gone to see it because Tom Hardy's kind of awesome. But yeah, that's interesting. We'll see. Maybe we'll get a some kind of Avenger in a future Venom or whatever film, or maybe we'll see even an Easter egg like Avengers Tower or something. Yeah, it's that's good news for the fans. I was afraid Sony would end up doing something stupid again.
And like I said, I'm just so happy as well because it makes it more approachable to the casual fan, the casual movie audience that really cannot follow or does not follow the universes 100%, and probably would be confused and or there'd be a lack of interest if they tried to just branch off so far away from the actual existing Marvel universe. Indeed. What are your thoughts out there on Venom now that you've heard this news and the fact that are you a little bit more hopeful as far as the alignment of the Spider-Man and the Marvel universes and the tie-in with Venom will looks like that it's gonna be more associated and closely related to the Marvel universe? What are your thoughts? popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Also as well, Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, and Humanican Media on Facebook and Twitter as well. So we're going to head on out here, Josh. But before we do, share everyone a little bit more knowledge on what's coming up with Humanica Media.
Right now, you can check out all of our E3 footage on YouTube, Facebook, all the outlets where you can find us. Coming up this week, we got some Super Bro Station. We have What About This is recording, so that'll probably pop up on Monday. And also look for a new episode of Topicocalypse. I'm rendering right now the full episode of episode 1, and then episode 2 will start to premiere sometime this week. So stay tuned.
Definitely, that's great indeed. Oh, and one last thing, Josh was, reason why he sounds even better today. Josh is wearing the Plantronics Rig 600 headphones that really are sound great. I'm gonna actually be posting a review this week of the Plantronics Rig 600, so take a look out for that on our website, popculturecosmos.wordpress.com, where you'll find a great array of stories, opinions, and also great reviews as well of everything out there between movies, games, tech, and wonderful stuff in the world of pop culture. So check that out indeed. popculturecosmos.wordpress.com. So for Josh Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day here in paradise, here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening, and here's hoping you have yourself a great